What's poppin', my J dolls? And I am back with another video. Before we get into this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and ring that bell. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. It is free 99. And if you still don't subscribe, you a hater. And take that with your mama, because why she raised you like that, period. So you guys, today I'm going to do a video all about scarcity mindset and coming from nothing, right? And having a scarcity mindset and how to develop an abundant mindset and let go of the scarcity mindset, the survival mode. And my experiences growing up in the survival mode, my experiences now. We're going to break it all down, y'all. And then the sponsor for this video, we got to thank the sponsor. Woo, okay. It's sponsored by Imperfectly Fit, which is my business, you guys, actually. I'm a weight loss coach, so I do coaching all virtually. It's one-on-one coaching, personalized experience, top level, white glove service at your hands, okay? I have personally lost 158 pounds and been maintaining for 2.5 years. So I teach other women how to do the same. So if you are looking to lose weight and keep it off, make sure you click the link in the description box and go head over to my website and apply. You can't just work with me. You have to apply to work with me. Clock it. And I do free consultation calls. So make sure you go ahead and book your free call, okay? Apply and then book your free call. So anyways, you guys, we're going to get into scarcity mindset. We're going to get into trauma. I'm going to say this is another episode of Less Trauma Bond. You guys, I had a podcast called Less Trauma Bond, and I fell off the earth with it. And I haven't been consistent, but I really do feel like this fits in the realm of Less Trauma Bond. And if I put this out here, then I can start being consistent with putting more podcast episodes up. I don't know what number we are at. We're at 19. My last episode was about Black love. So yeah, we're at 19. So this is going to be amazing because we're almost at 20 and I'm going to be consistent with this. So less trauma bond. Okay, y'all. And the biggest thing I focus on with trauma bonding is a lot of people use that word in a negative sense, in the sense you don't want to trauma bond with your relationships and stuff like that. So I'm your internet friend that you can trauma bond with, okay? That you can feel like you have been seen and people can understand what you've been through and help you through your problems. You know, I've always said that I am an unlicensed therapist, okay? I even do it with my weight loss coaching clients. Like, I literally help them through life situations because weight loss is mindset. And so if you don't change your mindset, it's very hard for you to keep your weight loss off. So mindset is like a huge factor in your life. And obviously when you have a scarcity mindset, you have to change that mindset. So I'm going to talk about my experiences with this mindset, where it stemmed from. And let's connect in the comments, you guys, because I think the biggest key to success for me is vulnerability, being vulnerable, being true to yourself, and being real, because there's literally so many people going through so many things and they need to be able to relate, to feel like they're not alone, to feel like there's hope too. Like, because sometimes when you're going through certain things, you just feel like it's the end. Like, so you guys, I'm going to speak on my childhood. I think childhood reflects a lot on scarcity mindset, a lot on self-love, things like that. So for me growing up, I've always had a mom that was very hardworking, okay? I did also have my dad, okay? I had my dad, but my dad was very much in a different state. So my dad lived in New York and we lived in North Carolina. And my dad did work at a certain point, but then after a while he got hurt. And so he ended up having to essentially not be able to work because he was disabled, technically. I think maybe he had a heart problem or something at work or something like in those sense of things. And then he just couldn't work anymore. But the thing about my father is he was very creative, which is where I get a lot of my creativity from. And he kind of taught me, like, if I look at his journey, he would be hustling. Like, my dad would be hustling. Like, he would be outside, like, selling shirts. He'll be out there trying to take pictures of people, do his photography. Like, he would be out here making music. Like, he was just doing so many different things to just make money. But that still wasn't enough. And I think a lot of people don't understand the whole life of entrepreneurship, that entrepreneurship is very hard. Being a creative is very hard, and it's very hard to make money. And that's a mindset thing too, because it don't have to be hard, but you just need to know that it's not going to be easy following purpose. So that's something I found and realized for my dad. My dad did own his own store, and I got to see that that whole process of him having his clothes in there, selling his clothes, people coming in the store, to him eventually shutting down that store. So in my eyes, my dad seemed like a rich figure in my mind, because although I knew my dad wasn't giving my mom money, like my mom never put him on child support, and he wasn't really sending the money when he said he's going to send money. He's probably sent me money like a total maybe 5 times in my lifetime, if I'm not mistaken, because obviously I was a child. And it'd be like $100 here, $100 there, whenever. So he kind of was able to skirt by without like having to pay for too much. Now, mind you, I would go to his house in the summers and things like that, but never to the sense where he shouldn't be sending my mom money, okay? But in my eyes, when I seen my dad, it was always like, oh, like we will do things, and he had a Mercedes. In my head, he had a Mercedes, but the Mercedes really was his wife's Mercedes, okay? And in my head, he has this huge house, but really his wife is paying for a lot of that house. And honestly, I didn't know these dynamics. I just knew that it looked very different being with my mom versus being with my dad. And in a sense, like my mom, we've always lived in an apartment or like subsidy housing, like, you know, low income housing type of places. And we only had one place that was amazing. Like we had one townhome that was just very beautiful. But when it came to her mental health, it started to decline, so we could no longer live in that place. So it was like a whole journey. But during this journey, my mom was always very hardworking. My mom had me and my brother. She's technically a single mom. She did have a boyfriend for majority of my life, like growing up, and I guess sometimes he would help with the bills. So yeah, but a lot of times she really had to work very hard. Like there was one point I remember, a lot of times, people don't talk about this in the Black community, but a lot of times like the moms are working and their kids are at home. Like it was a lot of times where my mom was working so much that my brother and me had to stay home by ourselves, right? And yeah, my brother's 2 years older than me. So let's say I was 10 and he was 12 or something like that. Like I used to be the one to be like, I want a babysitter. Y'all don't know what was it about me, but I hated being home by myself. I hated being home with my brother. I always wanted a babysitter, and my brother was always the antisocial, and he never wanted a babysitter. He'd be like, oh, stop crying. Why do you want a babysitter? Like, we can just stay home. And I tell you, when me and my brother was home by ourselves, we was tussling, slapping each other on the head, punching each other in the head, biting, scratching. We was getting down. Baby, no kid should be home by themselves. Kids should not be home. I be calling my mama every 5 seconds, like, oh my gosh, Ramel did this, Ramel did that. Y'all see my brother, so y'all know his name is Ramel. So yeah, I literally would just be like, he did this, he did that, or whatever. And my mom be like, y'all gotta stop calling me at work with this stuff. So anyhow, y'all, like, we was just blowing her down at work, but she was working so much, right? And in North Carolina, it wasn't as bad. Like, she was working a lot, but like, it still wasn't like to the point where it got to when we moved to Minnesota. So like when we lived in Minnesota, when we came to Minnesota, you guys, a lot of people don't even know this about me, because I think some people go based off how you look and they don't understand your story. They don't know how far you had come. And so when we moved to Minnesota, we practically was living with my aunt. There were several different times where we were living with my aunt, or my aunt was living with us, like or her kids was living with us, and then vice versa type of situation, or we were living together. And so once we got to Minnesota, we ended up living with her, but it was very temporary because my mom was like, no, I don't want to stay here for long. You just don't want to stay in nobody's house for too long. And so we ended up going to a homeless shelter. I was very devastated. I did not want to go to this homeless shelter. I remember, you guys, I still remember the day, like before we went to the homeless shelter, we had to stay in a Motel 6 or something like that, or Super 8 or something like that. Like, I was so devastated. I did not want to go to no motel. Yeah, I was really a bougie child. Like, I was a child that, like, I would have hotel parties in high school, not at this time, but in high school, and I would be at hotels. I'd never stayed at a motel before. So when I had to stay at a motel, I was like, oh my gosh, like, no, I don't want to be here. Why are we doing this or whatever? It was like a whole thing. And then when we got to the homeless shelter, I felt embarrassed, like being there. I felt embarrassed, like getting picked up on a bus to go from the homeless shelter to it was elementary school. It was elementary school, almost to junior high school. I think it was like fifth grade, maybe fourth grade. Yeah, I don't know, maybe fifth or sixth. I'm lying, y'all. It's probably fifth or sixth grade. Getting on the bus and being the last stop because we have to drop somebody else, like other people, off to one homeless shelter, and then you're going to go to the next homeless shelter. You know what I'm saying? And that is downtown, like Minneapolis. So I drive past, well, I used to. I live in Texas now, y'all. But I used to drive past that even after living there. And it was like a lot of emotions invoked. It wasn't because when I lived there was a bad experience, you know. It wasn't quite terrible. I will not say. I think it's more the embarrassment, the sadness that came with it. But like the actual experiences, I didn't really experience nothing terrible there. But we were not there for long. And then eventually we got our apartment. Once we got our apartment, my mom had to work 3 jobs just to survive. So I always see my mom working very, very hard. And it started to condition my mindset to feel that because I've seen these things that I have to work hard, I have to survive, because I've only seen my mom just survive. So a lot of times, if you have a mindset where you have a scarcity mindset, thinking you can't do better, you can't have more, thinking if you get comfortable in a situation that you can't leave that situation, you have to start to think, where did these ideas come from? Like, what brings up these emotions, and how to redirect your mindset and say, no, I can have more. No, this is not how life is supposed to be. So seeing a woman work so hard through different adversities. My mom had a lot of adversities against her, mental health, getting healthy, to working very hard, extremely working herself to death. It was just like a lot of factors there that made me realize, it made me grow up so fast because I had to make a lot of adult decisions at a young age. I had to use a lot of problem solving skills. So I really don't think people just wake up and just have problem solving skills and are super analytic or like super intuitive. Like, I think these people have to go through certain things to start to become almost prepared for negative things, and almost be prepared for bad things to happen so that you know how to react to them. So it's a constant anxiety ran life. And if you think about it, having like a survival mode mindset, having a scarcity mindset is literally a form of anxiety, because you are technically just stressing yourself out, trying to understand the next move, trying to understand the future, trying to make something work, trying to force things, right? And I will not say that it like ruined my life, because I don't think it ruined my life. It kind of really did show me that I could do anything. I could get through anything. If I've been through the worst, there's only the best to come, right? So the one thing that I learned in my adulthood is I started to reflect those behaviors. I remember my mom used to say, oh, I can't wait for you, because I used to be like, oh, I want to get my nails done. Oh, I want to buy this dress. Like, y'all, I literally wanted the most expensive stuff, and my mom would always get it for me. Like, I was very spoiled, and I really also was not mindful of like how much work my mom put in for this money, or just how much debt my mom went into just to give me money. Because I almost felt like I deserved it in that mindset. I know I've been through things, and I know that I've shown up for my mom in certain ways, but I do feel that I was very much a brat. Okay, I was very much a brat because my mom would almost give me materials to combat the time that she couldn't spend with me, or like to, kind of make me feel good, and those were temporary voids or whatnot. And I think that's a big thing in the Black community. When you come from nothing, then you start wanting everything, and you start wasting money on things you just don't need. You know what I'm saying? Like things that just don't matter. Not that you don't need, because you are deserving to have nice things, but some things just don't matter. And it's about how you scale the importance of the things, like materials versus time versus experiences. You know what I'm saying? Where you put it on the level of importance is the problem. So anyways, y'all, I became very, very bratty. And I remember my mom used to be like, I can't wait for you to get a job. And she would tell my cousin that too. I can't wait for you to get a job. I can't wait for you to get a job. And I think the true thing is, I think my mom is the reason why I hate jobs. Like, I thought I wanted a job so bad, but it was just because my mom wanted me to have a job so bad. And I just want to stop hearing her complain. Like, I really still feel like to this day, like in order for her not to complain, that's the only reason why I would want a job. So I think like my mom only knew that you just have to work hard. You have to get a job. You have to pay your bills. You have to. And I get it, because my mom had kids. I don't have any kids. So I do feel like my situation is a little bit different. I have a dog. I do feel like when you do have kids, you kind of really have to have that mindset. If I have to, because your kids are literally depending on you to live. So you kind of have to, like you just can't just not do it and your kids go hungry. So anyhow, literally once this situation happened, I started being like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get a job. So y'all, I was like literally 15, really wanting a job. I got a job permit thinking, oh, this is going to help me get a job, which the hell, I don't even know what the hell a job permit is and why I wasted my time getting it from my I think I got it from a school counselor or some shit, and still nobody wants to hire my ass. Okay. And I remember me and my cousin went for the same job. This is a different cousin I never put on the internet or on my YouTube channel or whatnot. So this cousin and me went to this interview. I don't remember the whole story of it, but I told her I really want the job really, really bad. And she was like, okay, I'm just going to take you there just so you can interview and all that stuff. She was supposed to just chaperone me to take me to get this job at this pizza place. Mind you, we go to this pizza place and I'm interviewing and stuff. I'm 15, but I have a job permit. And after they interview me, they interview her. And she got the job. Mind you, my cousin was like 18 at this time. Like my cousin was like a grown ass woman. And she got the job and I didn't get the job, y'all. I started crying. I started crying after. I was so mad at her. I was like, she stole my job. I told her she stole my job, which it was never my job. I didn't get the job. But I truly felt in my heart that she stole my job, because it's like, you ain't supposed to come here and interview. What is you doing? Like, I need this job. My mama keeps saying I need a job. So anyways, y'all, I just found that I really was just too young. Nobody really wanted to hire nobody 15. So I eventually got my first job. And I worked there and I was so happy to get this job. And the way I held on to this job, because of like the things that were instilled in me, like I literally worked this job for 3 years. After that, I have not stayed at a job. Well, the job after that I stayed in for 3.5 years. So just my first 2 jobs was the only jobs I stayed at that long. But none of the jobs after that did I ever stay that long. Okay. So at that time, you guys, literally I was just holding on to this job because I was just so happy to finally have a job. That is scarcity mindset. Like, oh, I finally got a job. I don't want to let it go. Like, when am I going to get a different job? And like all this stuff. And I ended up breaking that mindset once I got a job at Forever 21. I remember, y'all, literally, I can talk about this because I literally was there for 1 month. So I was at my first job for 3 years. I finally got a job at Forever 21. As well. Like I was working 2 jobs, but it was like the summertime or something like that. And I ended up working Forever 21 and working at my first job. And I ended up quitting Forever 21, y'all. I literally worked there, I think like a freaking 2-3 months, and I quit it because they tried to play with me. So I was like, nah, y'all try to play with me. Y'all thought y'all fired me. Because I wanted to go to prom, y'all. I literally was going to prom. I requested off. They said the person didn't request it off, da-da-da. So they thought I did a no-call, no-show, and they thought they had fired me. But when I came back, I clocked in, and they was like, oh, you were able to clock in? I'm like, yeah. And they were like, oh, well, we thought we let you go because you did no-call, no-show. And I was like, no, blah, 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 blah. And then so they was like, okay, no problem. Like, we'll keep you, work, whatever. Mind you, I had to cover one of my friend's shifts. one of my friends from high school shift that weekend. So I was like, all right, I'm going to let them slide. I'm going to cover my friend's shift because I was supposed to cover her shift. And then I'm about to bounce out of here and quit. So then I quit. I covered my friend's shift. I quit that next day. And they were like, oh, what? I thought we got it figured out. No, I don't even want to be here no more. Y'all thought y'all ate. Give me that plate, baby. I was a 2-job shawty. I don't need them plates. So anyways, after I got that job, I just knew that I'm just able to get jobs, right? Once you know that you're able, then you won't have that scarcity mindset that you have to hold on to certain opportunities or certain things because you know that they're not once in a lifetime opportunities. You know they will come back around. Okay, y'all, so I'm going to finish recording. I don't think you can hear that in the background because I have my mic, so I'm just going to keep going. But yeah, so practically when you know that you have done something once, you know that you can do it again. You know that there's opportunities and things out there. I think a lot of people get stuck when they feel that this is the best they can ever have. This is the best they can ever do. And if you have a mindset of where you're at is the best, you have to rewire your mind because you can always elevate in life. You can always do better. You can always get better. You can always grow. And if you feel that this is the best you're going to have and you're going to stay there for 20 plus years and there's nothing better out there, I'm here to tell you the biggest lesson I learned is even with having a corporate job, which I no longer have, I realized that a lot of people will get complacent with one company thinking like, oh my gosh, let's work for this company. Let's end up retiring. Let's stay here for the rest of our life. And they're getting like maybe a percentage raise, but that is it. They're not actually growing, okay? They're staying in the same position for the rest of their lives. And one thing I learned is if you're going to do that, you're going to get more money even if you go to another company. So you could come from one company to the next and make way more money doing the same exact job. But if you get complacent, like, oh, I love this company, I just want to stay here, this is the best that I'm going to get, you're going to keep getting the same results. And they're going to give you a little bit of an increase just so you can get by. But you can go to another company, they're probably going to give you an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a year versus that little raise that comes out to an extra $1,000 a year. So when you really start to realize that life can get better and you can always grow, you will constantly elevate in life. And when you are constantly in survival mode of, I just need to figure it out, this is the best that's going to happen, you're constantly under stress. And this is a big thing that I learned, especially even the Black community, is that a lot of people are under stress, especially at a younger age, and they end up having high blood pressure, they end up having diabetes, a lot of health problems because they literally neglect themselves and they prioritize work, they prioritize things that stress them out. And I learned that I will no longer do that. Like, I cannot sacrifice my mental health for a paycheck, for stability, for being able to pay bills. Like, literally, we're panicking to pay bills. And I understand it's a reality. But once you start to change and shift your mindset of there's many ways to do this. And we now live in a new society where there are so many different ways to make money that we should not be this stressed. And sometimes I have to go back in that mode because I think sometimes God will like sit me down when I start panicking and I go into survivor mode. Because for me, if I know something has to get paid, or if payments are being received late, or things are happening with business or things like that, and I start to panic and I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. I got to get this done. I start moving irrationally. I start moving out of ways that I know are easy for me to make money, instead of moving in ways of like, I could actually make more money if I actually sat down and focused, right? If I actually sat down and spent more time in my business, actually spent time doing more lives, these are things I got to do, sat down and do webinars, like I would not even be stressed. But it's because I'm trying to go to old ways because I am panicking in a survivor mode. You cannot think very clearly when you're in survivor mode. All you can think of is how to just get the money. It's just how to get things paid. How it's like a hustle bustle mentality. And that just leads to stress, which leads to anxiety, which leads to depression, which also leads to other health problems like high blood pressure, strokes, heart attacks. Like, these are a lot of things that happen in specifically the Black community. And a lot of Black women are really just forced to always figure it out. And sometimes it's okay to not have it figured out. Like literally, I'm a true believer that say, like, when you tell God your plans, he laughs. Because this has happened to me this week. I'm in my hustle bustle week or whatnot. It is a week away from rent. And I'm like, okay, I gotta hustle bustle. Like, I gotta just make it this. Because mind y'all, last weekend I got sick. So that messed my money up. Because I was like, okay, I'm going to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I got sick on the weekend. So I could not work, like, at all. So I literally was stuck in the house. But when I was stuck in the house, it gave me enough time to really work on my webinar, gave me enough time to work on my new client stuff, get all the links and everything prepared for my new client. It gave me the time to set a plan for my current client too. Like, it gave me time to focus. And that's a big thing I noticed is, like, when you are in survivor mode or have a scarcity mindset, you're not focused, you're stressed. And when you're stressed, you cannot think rationally and you cannot think clearly. You can only think in the ways that you already understand, like the other ways that you know already how to make money, but you cannot focus and think clearly if you're under stress. And so that is one thing I noticed, is that I had to sit still. And this also happened to me today because I literally had this plan. I'm like, okay, like, I'm going to go make money. I'm going to do all these things. And I got a nail in my tire. So I can't even work today. So now my car is at the shop getting the tire redone, right? And I'm like, okay, maybe I bring it somewhere else instead of like Volkswagen, because Volkswagen takes years to change a tire. Like, it takes freaking days. And that's happened. Like, this is the second time I've gotten a nail in my tire in the last month. So it's like freaking, I don't know what's going on, who's putting bad juju on me, but you can stop now. Literally. But I have tire coverage. I have a warranty on my tires. So I'm very smart and lucky that it's covered every time. So anyhow, I decided not to go to Volkswagen this time and take it to Firestone, thinking it's going to be faster, because why not? They said that they'll get it done by the end of the day probably. And it's 3 o'clock. I dropped it off at 11 a.m. I did a 3-mile walk. And now I'm here. I mean, the 3-mile walk was really necessary, like, to clear my mind. I usually do run club at the end of the day, but I was just like already mentally checked. I was like, you know what? I'm not doing run club today. Don't feel like dealing with it after this nail in the tire situation. So now I have decided it's a good time to create. And that's what I learned, is like, when I slow down and I'm not like trying to overwork myself, or I get to a point where it's like I can't work, that I get a lot more done. I get a lot more creatively done. I push myself a little bit farther with business. And so one thing I want to just give you guys the suggestion is to find stillness and find true space to be able to think and to listen to your thoughts. Because I think this is a big thing, y'all, because sometimes I call them downloads. I get downloads, like, literally, y'all, I get downloads on how to make money. And this is no joke. Like, I remember this example, that something happened. I'm not going to go to details, but something happened in my car, right? And to get paid for it, to get the money for this inconvenient thing happening to my car, I had to show a receipt so that I can get reimbursed for it. But obviously, if I clean it myself, I don't have a receipt. But guess what? Your girl is a business owner. So I know how to make receipts. So what did I literally, I got to download of just make a damn receipt. You're a freaking business owner. You know how to make receipts. So your girl made a receipt. And I got my damn fee, as I should. I deserve that fee. Someone destroyed my car and they deserve to pay. Okay? So at that point, Y'all, I made the receipt and I got my check. Okay, so I get downloads like, just do this, and it works I'm telling you, every time, just do this and you're gonna be good. Just do this, you're gonna be good. Sometimes I try to avoid them and try to take the easy route, which the easy route is really hard. And I think we don't get that when we're in survival mode, just trying to literally survive. We think that the old ways that we're used to doing things are the easy ways because we don't have to think about it, but they're really usually the hardest ones physically and takes up a lot of your time. And so that is one thing I learned, is take time for self. I know we could be in a chaotic space of like having to work every day, having to work multiple jobs. You have to take time, sit and think. I don't know what you got to do. If you got to take 2 days off, sit and think. Maybe just journal, like see what ideas come to you. What ways can you make money without working as hard? What ways can you take more time for yourself? What ways can you maybe like put more hours into one day so that you can have another day off? Like that's a big thing that I've also been trying to work on. It's like hustle bustle mentality can kill you. And honestly, I'm hustling right now as an entrepreneur because I create content, I have clients, I do Uber, I literally do so much of TikTok, Instagram. Like this is crazy, right? And so now I've been learning that maybe I'm making my life, maybe it's not even all the things that I'm doing, it's me making my life difficult. Because if I work a little bit longer shifts, right? Like if I do Uber longer shifts, then I can have a couple days officially off. And then those couple official days off, I can actually have for content creation, or I can use my breaks on the other days that's for content creation. And then actually truthfully have 2 days to myself. And reorganize my schedule, reorganize my routine and working routine. Because the big thing I notice is when you're in a scarcity mindset, you literally don't have a routine. You're literally just trying to like get it done. So you're all over the place and there's literally no structure. And when you don't have structure, that's when you tend to fail, because you don't have plans, you don't have no structure. You're just doing stuff to get it done, to make ends meet, to just get through the process. So that's a big thing, is routine, schedule, figuring out how to make more time for self. Because I really feel like in stillness is when I do way better. But when I have to make decisions under so much pressure, I start making irrational decisions, impulsive decisions. And so with that being said, I think as a community, we have to let go of the scarcity mindset. There is enough abundance in the world. You can have more. You can have a better job. You can have a better car. You can have a better home. You deserve better. It's not wrong for you to want more. I think another thing in this community, especially the Black community, is that we feel that it's greedy to have more. We feel that like millionaires are greedy, billionaires are greedy, and all these type of things. Now, let's say someone doesn't become a millionaire. That's not going to help the other person that is potentially homeless. You know what I'm saying? It might actually help the homeless person more if someone becomes a millionaire, because I know a lot of millionaires that actually donate to charities. Usually they do it for a write-off, so I'm not saying it's for the best purposes, but they're donating to charities that may be donating to the less fortunate. So I don't think by not becoming a millionaire is going to actually help homeless people or just poverty. And I think really more people actually wanting more actually will help with poverty and homelessness. But so we need to reshape our mindset around like having more, and having more in a sense of like not material things, because I think that's what we can get to in the Black community, but more in the sense of more experiences, more investments, more educational money, because that's a big thing too. I want to spend more time, because when you grow up in a scarcity mindset household, you don't even understand money. You don't understand how to make money work for you. You only understand how to work for money. You see, so you don't have the financial literacy when you grow up in that type of environment, because everything's about how much are you spending, how much can you save, and how can you pay bills. It's nothing's about how can you invest, how you can grow money, how you can make your money make money for you. Like, these elements are not really talked about in those type of households because you're just really trying to survive. Like, you don't care about any of that. And just also being in a system of like everything everything government, in a sense. And I think now we're really in a new society where a lot of our generation cannot rely on the government even if they wanted to, versus like in the past. And I feel like our generation is probably going to be like the most future forward generation. Like, it's like, I feel that we're the generation that has to really think about what do we want, how to get what we want, how to get what we need, and how to make opportunities. Like, because we could never, like, I don't really think there's anyone really that could really rely on the government at this point. With how bad the economy is, it's like a whole different world than it was before. And so I want to leave this because I know this is a very long video, and I'm hoping that you don't hear all that noise in the background. And I don't think so because I have my mic. So we're praying. But I really do feel that always follow your dreams, follow your heart. Don't ever feel that you're not good enough. You can never do it. Don't ever feel like you have to settle. Don't ever feel like you have to just do stuff just to make ends meet. Follow your heart and follow your purpose. Take time to think. Take time for self. Take time for stillness. Some things you gotta, I realized too, like some bills we really create for ourselves. Like, there's something I had to realize, like, what you really need. You need a place to stay, obviously. You need food, you need water. I need a car, but some people may not need a car. It's not necessary. You can take the bus, you can use your feet, whatever. You can ride a bike. There's certain things you can do, but a lot of times we are creating our own expenses, and this is a big thing that I also say. Like, a lot of people's expenses too is like debt and credit and like student loans, all these type of things. And take this with a grain of salt, but those are also a choice. We literally make choices in life, and that's a choice, because at the end of the day, if you're going to be at a point where you have good credit but you just don't have any money, and you're just scratching by, you're it's kind of most likely you don't have credit if you're doing a good credit if you're doing that, because most likely you would use credit if you got to the point where you don't have any money, right? So I think there's a cycle and a rabbit hole that the government gets people in the sense of like, well, we want you to repair your credit, we want you to have good credit, so keep paying this credit, right? Because your interest is so high, because now you literally are using the funds because you can barely make ends meet, right? So now your limits is high. Now you have to pay those back, pay your student loans and pay your bills. And then you're in a cycle because you're like, well, you don't want your credit just to be terrible, but it's already bad. So this is the thing. I am a real believer that people that don't have money will have a very hard time having good credit. And if they do, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them will eventually dip into that credit and that money, and then essentially get into bad credit, right? So a lot of y'all pay for shit y'all don't even got paid for. Long story short, because if you got bad ass credit and you're paying for these credit cards and you literally still have no money and you still keep using the credit cards, then there's some things that are just optional. In my opinion, if you're gonna have bad credit, fuck it, you're gonna have bad credit. Now, if you can have good credit, they have good credit. That means that you also have the means to pay the credit, right? And pay it off, or pay majority of it, because that's how you have good credit, obviously. But I think being trapped in a cycle of I have to, like, oh my God, I have to pay this. I have to do that. I have to do this. All you have to do is freaking live, okay? All you have to do is live and choose yourself, because I think we get too wrapped up in the materials, too wrapped up into the physical world, that a lot of people lose themselves, literally. A lot of people freaking, like, older people that I see, like, literally have had heart attacks, strokes, because they're so stressed, they worked so hard, they have really nothing to show for it because damn don't have enough money to even retire. And so they're working themselves to death, and they're prioritizing work, they're prioritizing things over their actual self. And this is a big question I have to ask to people, like, if you're doing all of this, right, but you're going to do all of this and you kill yourself. I can't probably put that on there. But you do all of this, you stress yourself out, ruin your mental health. I've seen people get depressed from certain jobs because they will not leave them because they feel like, oh, I need this job to make the money, whatever. But they literally want to like freaking off themselves, right? Or there's certain people that literally have jobs that are so physical. Like I've heard people literally have jobs where they have a heart attack on the job. I've heard people like pass away in their freaking cubicles. If you are prioritizing a job over your life, you really have to start to think about your mindset. And not saying you can't have a job. You can have one that you actually would enjoy, that will actually bring you better quality of life, right? And you have to understand it's out there if that's what you want. I prefer none of that. But if that's what you want, then find something that is going to bring you happiness. Everything's going to come with a pro and a con. Even when you have your own business, the pros and cons. So you have to find something that truthfully makes you feel like you can actually do it, and not hate yourself or hate your life. And I've even met a person that worked in the oil industry, and he said he was working and he's working with gas and stuff. And they do tell you this, like, it's very dangerous to work in the gas industry because something can explode, obviously, and you can pass away. And a lot of people take this risk because they want to have money for their families, all types of stuff, and they just think that it would never be them. And this guy was working there, and the gas blew up all in his face. And this is a guy I met in real life, and it melted some of his face. It messed up the nerves in his brain. It messed up his arm, I believe. But he ended up living. He actually was in a coma for a while, and then he ended up living. And then he kind of told me in the sense that he wished he never lived. It was like, this is very deep. I probably need to put a trigger warning before I put this video up. But this is what I mean, is that when you come from like a poverty setting, a poverty family, you start prioritizing your job over yourself. You start prioritizing money that's not real money because you've never seen the amount of money that these people that are running the businesses actually make. So to you, what you're getting paid, you think is a lot of money, but you have never seen a lot of money, right? So you're prioritizing a little amount of money, mind you, over your life, over your family. Even when I talk about like growing up in the sense of like mom always working a lot, like she didn't have time for her kids. You know what I'm saying? She's prioritizing this over kids because that's all she knows. Instead of thinking like, okay, well, if I can't make enough money with these 3 jobs, maybe I should go get educated and get a higher paying job. Mind you, that's back in the day, different time frame. Nowadays, you could still get educated and not have a good paying job. Things happen. So I won't say it's guaranteed, but instead of having that mindset of like, maybe I shouldn't be working as hard and maybe I should just get a better job. Not having that mindset kept her stuck, kept her tired, kept like her health depleting, right? And so with all that being said, when you shift your mindset, you can relieve a lot of your stress. You can live a better quality of life. We need to really think of quality of life and not quantity of life. A big thing I noticed is when I was working in corporate, I always felt that I needed the vacation, right? Like I needed to go out of town. I needed to just like go have a good time, drink and all that stuff, because I needed to escape my real life. Like I needed to escape it because I didn't enjoy it, And I remember I used to think, why do people go home every night and they have like a glass of wine or whatever? Because I've been really against that because I've been around an alcoholic before. And so I'm like, oh, how could people drink every day? And then when I had my job in finance, I started to literally be like, I need a drink. Like after this day, like I need a drink like almost every night. And I'm like, this is not good. This is already showing you, if you need a drink every night, that's showing you that's not the place you should be, because it's deteriorating your health and making you feel emotionally exhausted, right? And so the biggest fact is choosing yourself and understanding there's more out there. Not saying you can't have a job. You can have a job. You can have a career. You can do these things. If it starts affecting you, then find better and know that you're worthy of better. Know that you can do it. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. It's only you that holds you back. I think a lot of people don't get that, because even when I start thinking negative, like I was literally going to spiral about this nail. And I was like, you know what the hell can I do? If I spiral about it, what is going to happen? Nothing. It's not going to make my tire fix. It's not going to change the situation. That is the one good thing that survival mindset has taught me, is that you just figure it out. But, at the end of the day, like, I could sit here and cry about it, but what the hell is that going to do? Nothing. So now I have to think, okay, well, what can I do? And just do it, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, just figuring out what would really work. So I think sometimes you can sit into like a depression and just, whoa, I hate this, or I hate this life, I hate that, whatever, da, da, da. But you create the life that you live. So you can always change your story. So I want to leave that with anyone that resonates with that. Leave your comments. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you book a call with me for your one-on-one coaching. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.